Welcome to a Love Seat. My name is Sunshine Day, and this is my beautiful wife, Sunny Day, and this is Mellow Day, making a cameo appearance today. We are super excited about our show because last month we told you to comment and write in, and that we would talk about whatever it was that you wanted to talk about.
Right.
So our show today is Viewer's Choice, Keeping It Real, and we're about to keep it real today. But before we get started on this hot topic, I just want to remind you to follow us on Facebook at A Love Seat and on Instagram, A Love Seat 2020. And remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, A Love Seat. Oh, and by the way, we are now on all podcast streaming channels. So you can find us on Spotify, on iTunes, on iHeartRadio. So make sure that you tune in and watch us and leave us a comment, follow us, give us some thumbs up, some likes, some loves, because we love you and we want to bring you amazing content. Ain't that right, babe?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So let's get started with some shout outs, okay?
Yeah.
I want to shout out to our friends, our sister Alex Day. Love her. She's a Day sister. Heather Bunker.
Yeah.
Donna Blue. Amanda Lastra, and Kevin Callahan, Denise Wallace.
Yeah.
Hey, Wallace. And also, I have a comment from Betty Henderson, and I actually want to use that as a kind of the catalyst to kick off this discussion we're going to have today. Okay, so I'm going to read Betty's comments. I did ask her permission. So, okay, so Betty Henderson, listening to you two 22 years is fabulous, and the level of openness is wonderful and shows life is about growth, change, and unfoldment. Ain't that the truth? Both individually and as a couple. It also makes me sad, and it's painful for the loss of my 26-year marriage that she gave up on us. So that was the comment that she left.
Love you, Betty.
Love you, Betty. Betty's awesome. We just came back from a trip with Betty and some other amazing women. So using that to kick off the discussion. So what she did say was there were a couple points that we're speaking to, which was the openness, the level of openness is wonderful. So she commented on that. And obviously the growth, change, and unfoldment. So regarding openness requires communication. And so in our relationship, just like everyone else's relationship, whether it's friend or spouse or work, there are ups and downs and challenges. And this is one of our more challenging times that we're experiencing as a married couple. Yeah. So communication is what I wanted to speak to. But why don't you start us off with one of the topics that you wanted to address.
Well, yeah, thank you, Betty, for that comment, because what you said was, the level of openness, growth, change, and unfoldment. And I think that it's super, super important for everybody to know, like, in relationships, like, and particularly ours, being together 22 years, like, 22 years don't go by of just like happy, joyous, and free and, everything going well. I mean, we struggle at times and we have lots and lots of challenges. And sometimes that is not even part of the public view. It's not what people see automatically. And when you speak of communication, what comes up for me is the honesty, and how honest can I be in communication? Because that openness that Betty is talking about, sometimes people can see it as, oh, this couple is so open, they're so much fun. And, let's face it, we are, and we're totally committed to our marriage. and at times it's just a struggle. I mean, even now lately, one of the things that we're working on is, new ways to communicate. I remember hearing a woman say, I went home and I told my
Oh
husband
yeah,
our marriage is over.
that was good.
And, and folks were like, oh.
Right.
And she says, and so we sat at the table and designed our new marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, okay, like
That
that.
marriage is over.
Right.
Yeah.
Like what they had known as a couple, up until that point was done and over. It didn't mean that they ended their relationship and their marriage, but what it meant was what had worked up until that part
Was not working.
was no longer working, and so they had to recreate their marriage and what
love
they
that.
wanted, what they didn't want. And yet that does take a lot of what Betty's talking about,
Right.
the openness, the honesty, communication, change and unfoldment. And
We are going through change and unfoldment. So a lot of times it can be looked at as bad or avoided, and it is really not to be avoided. I mean, if you're committed to the marriage and to the relationship, then going through the change and unfoldment as a couple and individually means, you just go through the rapids. It's like this one's a mother.
yeah.
And
remember in Victoria Falls?
Victoria
Yeah,
Falls,
in Zimbabwe when we did that?
there was one that they called the mother, and that one can turn your raft upside down. And so it's about really moving through the changes of the way the relationship has been up until this point, no longer really feeding the next phase for us individually and as a couple. So we have to look for ways to nurture and feed each other and the relationship. And sometimes it can look like when we had our subject, is it selfish or altruistic self-care? Is it selfish? And in this case, we really have to give a lot of focus individually to self. And out of that, then the relationship has a new breath, a new expression. And that's what's happening. Basically, we're giving new life to this relationship, but something has to die first, and that's the hard part.
Oh,
A lot has to die first,
and so it's interesting because you say that, and I think about something that I've been recently talking about, and that is the something dying for something to live. And here we are excuse me, in April. We're looking at Easter.
Passover.
We're looking at Passover. We're looking at
Rebirth.
how the right, exactly, the days are longer, the nights are shorter, and
We need to resurrect
it's seasonal, right? It's so seasonal. When I think about how Moses led the folks out of enslavement, and I think that that's kind of what our relationship is going through right now. It's kind of like the things that we had been a slave to or have fallen asleep to, at least for me. I look at things that I said yes to when it was like I should have maybe said no to, or the things I said no to that I could have said yes to. And, how when I'm selling myself short or betraying myself, that I'm actually betraying our marriage. And
for not showing up authentically.
yeah.
But I was thinking about that, and I was thinking that a lot of people get to a place where, say this happens, this junction, and they say, wow, you're not who I thought you were, or wow, you're not the person I fell in love with,
Or married even, right? Yeah.
I hear that a lot, and no, it's not the same person.
I
That
hope
is
not.
that is the deal. So
Yeah.
it's not that person necessarily, or that you necessarily betrayed me in a typical way, like you did me wrong. The betrayal is that you were selling yourself short, as you say. But also, it's like, yeah, you're not who you were. I'm not who I was, but you showed me who you were then. For me to expect you to be who you were 15 years ago is unrealistic. It's not fair to me because I'm tripping, and it's not fair to you. You know, I'm tripping in the sense that for me to think that you're the same person is just nonsense. And so it's not like a bad thing. You know, it's like I have to go with the evolution of this human being who's evolving and moving through her process of loving herself and expressing herself and being true to herself, and you know, and then we have to communicate that lovingly. And that's a doozy.
That could be where like I see that as part of sometimes where we're challenged, right?
Yes.
Because whether it's you or whether it's me, like sometimes I don't know what part of the process I'm in because I'm in it. Like you can't see the forest for the trees
Right.
because I'm in it, and it's like I need to come up with new ways of being able to say, I'm in the process of something, babe. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's happening, but I need some space or some time, or can you just bear with me, or I apologize in advance because
That's huge.
you know,
to be able to foresee that, or to be in the midst of it and do that.
yeah.
I mean, if we master that, we will definitely let you know, because that is a tall order. That's some, Bodhi tree situation.
Zen.
That's way up on the mountaintop.
Yeah.
But
That's a hike.
it's a real hike. But I love hiking.
Yeah.
If we get to that, but in hindsight, that's what we're able to see. And so even being able to see it in hindsight and aspire to want to be in the midst and say, hey, this is what's happening right now, is kind of, we're getting closer to it, I would say.
Yeah.
We're not blind to it, that's for sure. Like, if I'm not expressing something fully or not being true to myself and able to say it, at least I'm aware that I'm not able to say it.
Yeah.
I'm not totally in the dark. Like, what's your problem? It's like, oh man, okay, now I see what I could have done, or where that's coming from, where that's stemming from. I got old behaviors popping up as new behaviors.
Well, you know what they say.
That ain't old if it's still in process.
Yeah.
So, it's true. And we're just discovering so much.
Yeah.
That it's sad in a way, because the death part is a loss.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to give up something great for something amazing.
Well, and what I want to tell you that I appreciate about you is that we weren't sitting on a love seat, but we were sitting and talking, and I was expressing myself, and the other day when it dawned on me that in my own self-betrayal that I was selling our marriage short and selling you short, and I was overwhelmed. That I found my voice to say that, and I apologized to you, and you were just so gracious in your love for me, and just kind of the way you just without holding me, you just like you held me. You held me in that comfort, recognizing that I was having a breakthrough of sorts.
Yeah.
And I think that that's important, that when there are these tender moments, especially when something is so difficult to get through, that, if folks are going to really be in long-time marriage or long-time relationships, that's key. And you provided that for me, and you afforded me that opportunity to do that. And you were not afraid. You were not afraid to be there and to hear me. And I appreciate that about you, babe.
Of course. Thank you for that. But at the moment, you have to know what witnessing that process was so not about me. It wasn't about it wasn't about me. It was about, this is good, your baby.
I'm
Your
good.
baby.
I'm good.
It wasn't about me. It was about you and that process. And it was so beautiful because I had the amazing thing is that we want the best for each other.
Yeah,
That's
true.
in wanting the best for each other, to see you go through something that I felt was long, so needed. I wanted that for you so badly, and to see you in it and walking through it, I was really honored first to witness it, and then I wanted it for you. So it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I held that. And now holding that and holding you in that could mean that it reminded me just in this moment of like, we take care of the butterfly, or we take care of the caterpillar, knowing that caterpillar is going to, get wings and fly away. And it wasn't the idea of losing you or anything, but it was the idea later. Now, in the moment, it was all about you. And then in hindsight, I'm thinking, wow, it's like giving birth to something that may turn out to take flight. And who knows what that flight looks like, But, I trust my God to guide my life and direct my steps. And so when I sit in that, I'm not worried. I'm not like, oh no, am I gonna? I'm not in fear of losing something. Yeah. I know that if God put it there, then it's there for my good. It's there for your good. Yeah. So the experience, I'm sure that's going to keep giving, because now you're in a different space. You've opened up and stepped through. You've walked through a tunnel now. Now we're on the other side, and there's a lot that's going to come from that. And I'm just resting in God. Like, okay, you got me. I just stop, check in, obey, keep moving. That's my obey. That's it.
The part of our commitment is just, like commitment to each other, like even the great, the good, the ugly.
Right.
And and over our 22 years together, it's we have so many great times, so many good times, and we've had some bumps. And so I think it's always important to talk about them and to be real, because I for one, I like watching HGTV, and in a half-hour show, it goes from a dump to like this glorious place. Yes. And then what happens for me is I think that, our relationships, our lives, everything's supposed to happen like in a half an hour. It goes from ugly to shiny.
Right.
And I know for me that I would always rather have the shiny than have to go through the humps and the bumps. But it's kind of it's kind of like Passover and the freedom, the exodus, the mass exodus, that going through the struggle to get to the freedom on the other side is always it's always worth it.
It's always worth it. And it was worth it because he obeyed. He questioned, what? You want me to do what? They're never going to follow me. This is crazy. And you want me to do what? But, I think the key for me through any kind of trials is just to tune in to what God is asking of me, and to keep just kind of checking in and being still and just getting that guidance, because I don't know how to maneuver through this. I really don't. I am no psychologist. What I'm finding is I don't really even know you. No, I'm just kidding.
You don't even really know you, because
I don't even know me.
You're
let
constantly
alone know
changing
you.
and unfolding.
Hello.
I mean, we do,
So,
but we don't. You know,
it's true.
because we're constantly growing and
I don't
unfolding.
even know myself. I'm new, you know, when things come through that I'm listening to and learning about myself. So you're so right.
Yeah.
So I can't falter, you know, especially when the push is there. You know, it's like, this is where I'm taking you. So I am simply following. That's what, you know, I have more faith in God than I do, you know, in anything else.
Yeah.
So that's what I keep at the forefront, because if I start leaning on myself and my own understanding of this situation, I would sell myself really short. I would move in anger. I would move in frustration, and
Wow.
I would have, you know, I would have walked out with my ego, you know, and it's like, wow, that's just not the order of the day.
Right. Well, and sometimes, you know, being keeping it real, sometimes when I'm stuck in my ego and things of that nature, yeah, you know, it's just like, no, I have to prove that I'm right, instead of just kind of like looking for the places where we can be in harmony. And you know, that happens. And so, you know, I just want to thank Betty Henderson for that comment that really led to us keeping it real, and having this Viewer's Choice show. Betty, our hearts are with you. You know, it's also a huge transition going from, you know, being in a marriage and in a relationship of 26 years, and then
Right.
finding yourself, you know, single and available, and yet, you know, and especially now with, you know, with COVID, you know, like,
She's, by the way, you know, she's radiant. You know,
Oh,
going
yeah.
on vacation, man, she
Yeah.
was like, you know, she was
was
just
hot.
popping.
Yeah.
You know,
Hot,
vibrant
yes,
and
yes.
just full of fun,
Yep.
and so gracious. So I mean, she's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, so we weren't in a marriage with her, but we're in a relationship with her.
We are.
And you know, and I'm really grateful for that relationship.
I am too.
But like, what were you just saying about keeping it hot? What did you say? Oh, she was hot.
Yeah, she's keeping it hot. It was like, check her out.
Yeah.
She, yeah.
But
Yep.
yeah, I think if y'all are, you know, I'd like to hear from your comments, and if you're in a relationship that has challenges, and what's working for you, what's not. You know, Sunshine and I end up by default kind of being an example, because long-term relationships, and if you're not in a long-term relationship, you look to those people like, how are you doing that, you know? And we're not magical fairies. Twinkle twinkle.
No, though, when we first got together, I would sleep at night, and
that's
she would look at my back to see if my wings were hidden.
It's true. That's called what, infatuation. No, I really didn't think she was from this planet, because she was the most amazing human being that I'd ever met.
Was.
At that time, you were still an
You're still
amazing
here.
human being, but I really hadn't met anyone like Sunshine, and so I thought I would be like, "Where's the button? Where's her button? She's not from here."
Yeah.
But in saying that, you know, we're moving through just like everyone else, and don't put us, you know, on some crazy pedestal, but do know that God is first, and moving selfishly, what may seem selfishly, through some things is okay, because, you know, you got to make sure you're okay for everything else to be okay.
Exactly.
And so that's just where we are, and we are committed to seeing what lies through the process and on the other side.
Yeah, recreating this. We're in recreating something something wonderful
Yeah.
is happening right now.
I'm trusting this, darling.
Yeah. Well, I love you, babe.
I love you.
All right. Well, beloveds, that's it for our show today, but wanted to make sure that you tune in to our May show. And that show is going to be airing on May the 7th, Thursday, May the 7th at 7:15 Pacific.
After my birthday.
Yes. Well, I have a birthday.
Oh my God, your birthday's coming up first.
April 13th. Yep.
Oh, by the way, this is a relationship, a 22-year relationship with an Aries and a Taurus.
And a Taurus.
So y'all do your
bull,
calculations.
Bull and a ram.
Do your
A bull
calculations.
and a ram.
Astrologically and check that one out.
Define all the odds.
Define all that, right?
Yeah, but
yes, May 7th.
Yeah. So again, just a reminder to follow us on Facebook at A Love Seat, and to follow us on Instagram, A Love Seat 2020, and on all the podcast streaming channels. We're available for you all
And
the
YouTube.
time.
Subscribe.
Yep. Well, it's been a pleasure being with you today. We want to...
Yeah. Thank you. I want to thank our executive producer. This one over here. Sunshine Day, thank you.
You're welcome.
A Love Seat, thanks you.
Yes.
And to please check out her spiritual remedy. It's called aspiritualremedy.com, and it's something that she is devoted to, walking people through the process of recovery, what that looks like, and all the aspects of that journey. She can walk you through so that you realize your wholeness and walk through aware of your wholeness.
Yeah.
Whole, and whole.
Yep.
Yes?
Yep, absolutely. Well, we love you so big. So on behalf of our family,
And
Mellow
this-
Day,
she's shy, I don't
Sunny
know.
Day, and myself, we want to say thanks for tuning in. And thanks
Love
again,
you guys.
Betty. All right. Bye for now.
Bye.